Howdy folks, I'm Topsy-Turvy Tomato, thunderously toppling Tamalatil towers.
I'm Amber.
And here are more of the Tamalatillo towers for us to topple. I have no idea what those are or why they need toppling, but apparently they do because Amber says so. And I'm a tomato who must carry out her bidding. Let's get started. Alright folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Telling My Wife That I Hate Her Fridgescaping? Recently, my wife has taken to Fridgescaping. I guess it's a recent trend because I had never heard about it before this. She started decorating our fridge, and it was really getting on my nerves. For example, she put flowers in the fridge in a vase in front of food, so you have to move things just to get to the food. She put all of her food in fancy baskets, jars, and similar things. I know it sounds absurd, but if you just search Fridgescaping, you'll see what I'm talking about. I didn't care at first because I don't have to use the fridge much anyways. I don't do a lot of cooking. But she's getting too meticulous with it and adding way too much decor. It's made the fridge very uninviting for me. She gets upset when I get something from the fridge and I don't put things back perfectly. She keeps taking it as a personal slight and acts like I've done something deliberately to hurt her when I haven't. I just find it unnecessary to maintain and organize such a fridge. Before she started this, it would take me 30 seconds to grab something quick from the fridge, whereas now it's a whole ordeal. Last weekend, she confronted me after I grabbed some leftovers from the fridge and left it in disarray, according to her. I explained that I find the hobby stupid and she can decorate other things. It doesn't have to be the fridge. It gets in the way when I want to eat quickly, when I come home from work hungry and tired and want to grab a quick bite. It's frustrating. I also talked to my son about it and he finds it annoying, which I told her. She didn't argue back after that, and she's removed all the decorations from the fridge, which I have to admit has been relieving. But she also has been acting very distant towards me and just hasn't been herself. It also has been weird intimacy-wise. Am I the jerk for this? Alright folks, there are a few comments here that I think are relevant, so I'm going to read some to you. And Mad Dog of Lesbos says, You're the jerk. Not because Fridgescaping doesn't sound annoying, but because you apparently contribute so little to the food of the household that it took you quite a bit of time to start caring about something this impractical. What grown adult doesn't use the fridge much anyways, if you're leaving almost all the kitchen operations to your wife, except apparently grabbing leftovers sometimes, the fridge is her domain. And the fact that when she's treated it as her own domain, and she tried to get some joy out of the monotonous slog that is cooking every single meal, you said that this is stupid instead of, can we share the kitchen responsibilities, therefore the space and decisions more evenly? This makes you the jerk in my opinion. And Opie replies, well, with all due respect, why should I have to share the kitchen responsibilities when I work? A lot at that. My wife cooks for our family, and she's more than happy to cook for us. I work, and I'm more than happy to work for my family. And Coastal Kid 92 says, not the jerk. I mean, was it nice to say something that she put time and effort into as calling it dumb? Probably not. My move would have been to call it impractical, especially as it's a community used appliance and not fully in her control. Having a fridge that is practical to use is important, and chances are that most of these content creators don't actually leave their fridge-scaped as it's just not functional. Maybe you could apologize for the stupid comment and then ask her if there's something else in the home that she would like to decorate solely. Edit, this is more towards the other commenters rather than OP, but I do think that it's important to consider how rude it is to call things that other people might find a spark of joy in or fun in stupid or dumb. All too often, women in particular are called stupid for liking basically anything. Taylor Swift is dumb. The Barbie movie was dumb. Bravo shows are done. Stanley Cups are dumb. Starbucks is a waste, and so on and so on. Would I decorate the interior of my fridge? Probably not. But if it was something that OP's wife found a bit of fun in, then who cares? It's literally harming no one. And OP's wife lives in the house with two guys who probably dominate a lot of the household with their wants and interests. And Bubble T Bob says, plus, how much disarray are we talking about? Is OP leaving a packet of ham particularly visible behind a carrot star? Or did he drip raw chicken juice everywhere and smear mustard on the door hinges? somewhere in the middle, because I think that fridgescaping is a bit impractical to live with rather than sporadically do for TikToks. But if she's desperate to maintain some sort of order, maybe she needs to consider how messy OP is. And OP replies, what triggered the confrontation was that I wanted to get leftovers from the back of the fridge. So I took a few things out, but I didn't know how to organize the decor and the Tupperware containers in a way that would fit back inside the fridge. So I put all the food back in the fridge, and then I left the decor on the counter so that she could reorganize the items how she likes. Because I didn't agree to spend 5 minutes Tetrising decorations and food when I just want a bite to eat. All right, folks, what do you think of this?
Yeah, I'm going to say that Opie's a bit of a jerk for his attitude. I understand being frustrated with having your fridge scaped. Like, I looked this up, and it seems like, depending on how scaped it is, it could be really annoying. Like, if there are, like, all these little pictures and things in there. You know, I get the fancy baskets. Those could be kind of cool, but, like, some of it gets very excessive very quickly. But it seems like he is just kind of trashing on his wife and her happiness. He's not really taking into consideration her at all. And also seems to think that the fridge and all domestic duties are solely her domain. Like his job has a time off, but hers doesn't.
Yeah, I'm going to show you guys a picture of a Fridgescape fridge here, for instance. Like, you can see, like, someone's put a photo in here, and we're getting all kinds of pop-up ads, dismissing them all. Yeah, whatever, right? So there's flowers in here, a photo, some nicely organized things, some plants, you know.
Like, it looks a little tedious to get around.
Yeah,
you know.
a little tedious here and there, right? So, I mean, I can understand his frustration here if he's trying to get leftovers from the back of the fridge, and then, you know, trying to figure this thing out. But I think what really upset her in this last time was that he didn't make even an effort to put anything back the way it was. He just kind of left everything out on the counter, and I can understand why she would feel slighted with that, because she put a lot of time and effort into decorating this fridge. And then on top of that, he comes in and calls her hobby just dumb. Like, there's no conversation about this ahead of time, right? He just came out of the blue one day and it's like, your hobby's dumb. Stop it.
Right, like if he had maybe if he had tried explaining more, like, hey, it's really impractical for me to read certain things in the fridge.
Yeah.
Can we find a way so that I don't have to Tetris items? Like, that is a conversation worth having, you know?
Yeah. And just to make it very clear, you know, like, if he had been like, you know, I really like that you have this hobby and that you're putting so much time and energy into it. I don't want to mess up your stuff, and, you know, I know how much it means to you. Can we do something to make this a little bit easier for me to get in there so that I don't mess up your organization and that you aren't feeling like I've destroyed your stuff? Maybe we can reserve the bottom shelf for, like, leftovers so that I can go in there and just, you know, take things out, and then you can Fridgescape everything else, right? Like, there could have been a lot of ways of handling this.
Yeah, exactly. You know, he could have had a conversation where he, instead of like resorting to name calling her hobbies, he just laid out what the actual problems are, and they could work together to find a mutual solution.
Yeah, instead, he's over here being like, your hobby's dumb, and my son thinks so too.
Yeah.
Great. Stop decorating the fridge. It's kind of rude. It's rude, right? She found joy in this. Just let her have a little bit of joy in her life. Maybe. And then I also want to point out, like, the intimacy part. Like, she's not talking to me, but
Yeah, it's like, what do you think would happen when you insult your partner and call their hobby stupid?
yeah, I'm sure intimacy is weird. Maybe you should apologize and stop making advances on her until, like, she's, like, in a better state.
Well, the thing that really, like, and I think this is the underlying thing, why I think Opie's the jerk, is I don't get the sense that he has any respect for his partner. He just kind of sees her as, like, the one who does all the house stuff, but not as, like, you know, an equal. You know, she provides him with things.
Yeah.
And if her desires get in the way of his, that's a problem.
Well, and I think that's exactly what it is. It seems like he only had a problem with this when it was costing him, you know, an additional 30 seconds to get his stuff out of the fridge. Like, and also, like, I don't know. Is it really that hard to put things back where you took them out? I don't know. So yeah, it just feels like a fundamental lack of respect for her hobbies, for her time, for her as a person. It's really sad. Really sad. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Not Paying for My Neighbor's Dog's Funeral? Okay, so about 2 weeks ago, my neighbor's dog ran into the road while I was backing out to leave for work, and he ran behind my car. I did not see the dog, nor was the dog on a leash. The dog was killed by my vehicle, and now they want me to pay and supply a funeral for the thing. I reluctantly agreed, feeling bad for the situation, even though I'm not the one at fault. However, when I was told what the cost would be, that it was going to be $20,000, I refused. I thought that it would be maybe a few $100s just to have a small ceremony for the family, only to find out that they have already made plans to book an entire venue with catering. The worst part is that they want me to also pay for a casket for a dog. After refusing this, they said that they would be contacting a lawyer, as I would be. I don't see any reason why they would need this for a dog, and why I should be the one to pay for it. If I'm the one unreasonable in this, please tell me, as I'm confident that I'm not obligated to do this. Alright folks, what do you think?
I mean, I don't think Opie is in the wrong at all. $20,000 is excessive for a pet funeral. Like, I think it was right initially to offer a small amount of money for this, because Opie did hit the dog, and it's a sad thing. Like, it's kind of a nice neighborly thing to do.
Yeah.
But their demands are unreasonable, and I can't imagine any court of law would be like, yeah, you're totally owed $20,000 for this.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure insurance will say that that they would owe him money, right? Now, I do want to kind of clarify that I don't think there's enough information to judge who was at fault of the accident in a non, like, because every single time the insurance company is going to say the dog owner is at fault, because that's what insurance companies do, right?
Yeah.
So if OP was like reversing quickly, not looking where he was going, and hit the dog, I would say in that case, he was probably at fault. But if this was one of the situations where he's backing out and then, the dog runs in behind him before he even has a chance to react and then hits the dog, then that would be more like the neighbors, should have been a little more cautious and not had the dog off their leash, right? And I mean, things happen. Pets can escape. Maybe this was a situation where the dog just got off his leash for a few minutes and then, it's a blink of an eye and something happens, right? And I think that is a regretful situation no matter what the situation, no matter how it initiated, right? But I do think that OP, in a situation where it's closer to being like his fault, for instance, does owe them, at least some kindness, some respect, and maybe even paying for a very small funeral. But a $20,000 funeral is not like where it's at, right?
I mean, that's more than a lot of human funerals.
Yeah. Like, this just seems very scammy. So I feel like they're using this money to basically, either buy another dog or buy a car or buy something.
Yeah, I have a feeling it wouldn't all be going to funeral expenses.
Yeah. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Jokingly Saying Man Card Revoked to another guy because he doesn't like to grill or work in the yard? I'm a 43-year-old male, and I was at a social gathering recently with a few of us guys who were doing our own thing, just kind of talking around the water cooler, enjoying a beer and having some laughs between the 8 of us or so. Now, I will be the first to admit that I am rather gregarious. What can I say? I enjoy being social and having a good time. The topic of grilling got brought up, so we all started talking about what kind of grills we have at home and showing each other pictures of the stuff that we've grilled. DM me if you want grilled meat pics. Then I asked Peter, I'll estimate his age around 35, what kind of grill he has back home, and he just replied something along the lines of, just a cheap gas grill, but I don't ever use it. I instantly replied loudly with an, oh, man card revoked. Please pick up your blouse on the way out. And just had a good belly laugh. He seemed to chuckle a little bit too, and everyone else got a laugh in it as well. So at this point, we were all laughing it up pretty good, and a few more people came over, including Peter's wife, because obviously the life of the party was happening where we were at. Again, I can't help that I'm a social butterfly. Then the topic of conversation moved on from grilling to projects around the house and yard work. Me and a few of the other guys have some clear plans over seeding our lawns in the fall. Then suddenly Peter decides just to comment, lawns are dumb. So I quickly replied with, "Jesus, man, we already revoked your man card. At least have some dignity." So I quickly replied, "For goodness sake, man, we already revoked your man card. At least have some dignity." And the whole group laughed again, except this time his wife looked mad. She uttered something about us being bullies and toxic masculinity and blah blah blah, making a whole vibe get awkward. So I commented, "Well, the dude has his wife even fighting his battles for him," and she promptly stormed off with Peter following close behind. So after all, the vibe was completely ruined, and we kind of all just split from the group. The next thing I know, my wife had tracked me down and was lecturing me about how those jokes aren't acceptable in this day and age. Apparently, Peter's wife and my wife are acquaintances, and she told my wife that I was being a bully. I think that I was just being the life of the party, like I'm always the life of the party. So Reddit, am I the jerk, or is Peter just proving that I was right in revoking his man card? Edit, I've read the feedback and it seems split 50-50. So I'm just going to choose the side with not the jerk crowd. Alright folks, what do you think? 50-50?
No, I definitely think OP is the jerk here, and I would be surprised if the feedback is actually 50-50 and not him cherry picking information here.
Yeah, I mean, I think like he probably is just like uh uh deleting his post quickly before people can actually get a say in, because this one was actually really far voted down and whatnot.
Yeah, and so first of all, like, I don't think OP is quite the life of the party he thinks he is.
Mm-hmm.
I get the vibe from this, but that's irrelevant. It's not okay to insult other people. Like, I really don't like this whole man card thing to begin with, and I think anyone who takes the idea of a man card too seriously, like, that's not a good thing. That is toxic masculinity. Not everyone has to like grilling or yard work because they're a dude.
Well, I mean, okay. I just want to know what exactly is a man card and why is it relevant, right? And I mean, like, does having a man card make you better at X, Y, and Z? I mean, I think, like, the idea of masculine jobs and whatnot, I think are. The thing is this. If you look at our technology in this day and age, most jobs can be done by either men or women, right? There was maybe a one point in time where, muscle and strength and whatnot was actually needed for jobs a lot of the times, right? And maybe those jobs would have been done by more muscular men, right? But that's not what it is anymore, right? Like today, with our technology, men and women can do hard work, heavy labor, because we have better tools that allow people to do these jobs, right?
Right.
And there isn't inherently anything about a grill that makes somebody more masculine, right?
Right. I mean, the whole man card thing is just a way of keeping other guys in line, if you will, so that, they keep reinforcing this toxic masculinity that you have to do these things to be a man. Otherwise, gasp, you'd be a woman. Like the whole thing about pick your blouse up on the way out.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, and I mean, like, it uses the idea that a woman is lesser than a
yeah.
man, right? In a way to cudgel someone else,
Mm-hmm.
right? You beat somebody with the idea that they're not a man, and what's the opposite of a man in these kinds of scenarios are women, right? And
Right.
women aren't something that you want to achieve to be because they're weak and delicate and stuff like that, right? And
Right.
I mean, I think that that's a flawed line of reasoning,
Mm-hmm.
and it not an accurate line of reasoning, because
Mm-hmm.
I've known some women who are tough as nails, right? I've known women who are better at doing masculine jobs than men. And, the thing is that doesn't, what does it mean for a man card at that point in time, right? I think that, what my advice is do what you like. If a hobby brings you joy, do that hobby. If you don't like grilling, don't do grilling, right? And it doesn't make you more or less of a person or a human to do or have your own subset of skills and tasks that you enjoy doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to chop down trees with your teeth in order to claim to be a man or something like that, right?
Yeah.
So I think that this is it's just sign of a silly thing. I think it's just very silly. I really do.
I
I,
think it's silly, but also harmful in that it reinforces the idea that men and women are fundamentally different and that women are inherently inferior.
Yeah. And I did do a quick scan through the comments, and it does look like the You're the Jerks are far dominating the
Yeah.
Not the Jerks here. For some reason, I was expecting that to be the case, but, Yeah, before we go, I do want to actually kind of address one last point here. What do you think of Peter saying lawns are dumb?
Well, I mean, I don't generally agree with calling things dumb. I don't think that's a nice thing to do, but the way he's phrasing it, it's hard to say without knowing his intentions, but you can have a problem with lawns. Like, there are a lot of good ecological reasons to not be a fan of lawns as we currently understand them. Like, the grasses and everything, like the resources it takes to maintain lawns can be really environmentally really detrimental.
Yeah, certainly. And I mean, I think Peter should have specified his feelings on it. I think, reducing it down to just saying lawns are dumb doesn't really help a lot of stuff. It doesn't help him in this particular case, because I don't want to give him a free pass on being like, poo-pooing somebody's hobby or something that people are really interested in. It's one of those things where kind of like, if you don't have something nice to say.
Yeah, like again, I don't. It's hard to say without his intention, but it doesn't necessarily sound like he's directly critiquing like OP or the other people
Yeah.
for maintaining their lawns.
Well, if you've been like, you're dumb for having a lawn, that would be one thing, right?
Right, because I mean, you can't object to people's hobbies like hunting. You can have a moral objection to hunting,
Mm-hmm.
and whether or not you should say anything, like people could argue till the cows come home. So, like, I don't think there's necessarily something wrong with if you have ecological concerns about lawns expressing that.
Yeah, but I
But
think he could have actually expressed that. And like
certainly,
said, oh, I think that lawns are really bad for the environment, and they don't help natural pollinators and blah 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 type of stuff.
yeah.
And I think by kind of just being like, yeah, they're dumb, it shows like it just wasn't. I just think it was uncalled for.
Well, it doesn't open the line of discussion.
Mm-hmm.
Although, to be fair, I don't know if there would be discussion to be had with OP at the helm.
Yeah, I mean, I think that OP would have turned things around no matter what, and probably mocked him and been like, "Ooh, lawns are ecologically sound."
Oh, there'd be more. We've already revoked your man card. You're like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I think it would have ended in the same way, right? I don't think that the friend would have gotten out of this without being mocked a second time. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, it's tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, she has a joke.
What is the best thing about the Witch's Hotel?
Oh, the best thing about the Witch's Hotel is that nobody asks you where it is.
Excellent broom service.
Oh, broom service. The broom service is to die for. And I have Earl Grey. Sorry, I just realized that I had Earl Grey yesterday, so twice in a row.
Keeping people on their toes.
Keeping people on their toes. Alright, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Spectacular Saturday, folks. I hope your Saturday is off to a spectacular start. Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance, and please have it on hobbies.
Don't denigrate people's hobby choices, and unless they're harmful and dangerous.
Yeah, agreed.
If a hobby like fridge scraping, it can be annoying, but you shouldn't denigrate people for it. If their hobby is murdering, then that you could have qualms with.
I don't think that's a hobby. I think that's a profession.
Well,
Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
bye.